two of the smartest men, excuse me, in the world of MLB DFS. That does not include me. I am Chris Spags, but I am joined by the top DFS player in the world, the number one man in all of daily fantasy, Mr. Alex Baker, better known as Awesemo. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm doing good, man. I didn't realize you're trying to hustle us all today.
Hey, you know what? There was one of us who was like, how about them Seattle stacks the other day? And you guys were like, look at this rube coming in here trying to. Meanwhile, that was clearly the right move, ignoring all the other data. But a man who does not ever ignore the data as well, Mr. Ship My Money, Adam Scherer. How are you doing, Adam?
Doing good. Pretty excited about the slate. I think it's looking like a pretty fun one. Pretty straightforward, at least for pitching. And I don't know. I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, we got 11 games here, pretty straightforward from pitching, as Adam mentioned. One thing that's also straightforward right now is the advantage that you can take, the deals that they're offering at yahoo.com. And of course, Yahoo is the fantasy provider here for the deeper dive every single day. This show is brought to you by them. So go thank them right now. Go to the Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article from our boy Emac on the homepage of Awesemo.com right now. If you do that, you can click a link. It's really simple. All you have to do is enter the promo code Awesemo. You get 30 YSRPs. They are just pretty much like money on Yahoo. You use them for any contest you want. All you have to do is use that promo code Awesemo, deposit your own $30. You'll get that $30 right back. Let's go check it out right now. I'll actually drop the link in the chat for you guys to make it a little bit easier. But go over to that link right now in the YouTube chat and go join us at Yahoo, because we are all playing there as Awesemo team. All right, guys, let's get on to the first game. Also, Josh, do we have any YouTube issues? Because I don't know if we're live on there. Or am I wrong?
We should be.
Good. Okay, yeah, we're good. My bad. It just didn't upload for me. All right, let's get on to the first game here, because we do have 11 games. We have to make good time today, so I'll be talking even faster than usual. Washington heading into a game with Pittsburgh. Washington getting 4.8 implied runs going against Joe Musgrove. Will be pretty decently owned on DK today, it looks like. Pittsburgh on the other side going against Patrick Corbin with their 4.2 implied runs. Corbin not going to be so owned. Adam, let's turn it to you first. How are you feeling about the pitchers in this game here, and do you have this much interest in a chalk Joe Musgrove?
I think Musgrove is a decent option on DraftKings. I'm less excited about it on FanDuel or Yahoo, but at 5,900 on DraftKings, it's a decent spot. The Nats are a good offense. This particular lineup the Nats are running out does have more strikeouts, pretty much the maximum amount of strikeouts that it could have, though. Cabrera, Adams, Robles, Gomes, and the pitcher all with high strikeout percentages. So if he can just kind of get through those top four, he starts to get some upside. Still a dangerous lineup, though. Everyone in this lineup basically has power. And so it's not like it's a cakewalk for him. I think my exposure to him will end up being in part dictated by the weather in St. Louis and how much Adrian Hauser I can get into my lineups. If I lose Hauser at 5,200, then I'm going to need more of Musgrove at 5,900. And I think it's a cheap enough price tag where it's worth the risk for a pretty decent pitcher. But it is a scary spot, especially if he's going to be owned.
Alex, are you feeling the same way about Musgrove? Because, again, he's going to be pretty popular today. But as Adam mentioned, he is a good pivot to Adrian Hauser, who are now a little bit worried about the weather there, it seems.
Yeah, I definitely am interested. It seems like, man, every single slate, Musgrove is the SP2 of the day on DraftKings. And today isn't really much of an exception. It's a tough matchup versus a good team in the Nationals. One that the top of the order is really tough to strike out, but then the bottom of the order is like above average for getting strikeouts, so it kind of evens out a little bit. And all in all, that equals an average performance, which is kind of acceptable at 5,900.
Yeah, that seems fair to me. And again, that ownership is really high, but the value there does seem to be there with our projections at Awesemo.com, which you can get at Awesemo.com/join with the promo code Deeper Dive for half off your first month. Adam, how about Patrick Corbin on the other side? Because he is going to be pretty high priced. I'm going to assume on a slate with Justin Verlander and also Walker Buehler, you're probably not going to get to his price point much. But is there any interest at all for Corbin going against the Pittsburgh team, who is appreciably worse versus left-handed pitching?
It's pretty tough to get there on this slate just because of how much, of course, I like Verlander. I really like Buehler. But then I also have Yu Darvish actually projected slightly ahead of Corbin for less money. So it just makes it really, really difficult to get there. Still not a ton of strikeouts in the lineup for Pittsburgh. It's not a very productive lineup, and they do have a reasonably low implied run total. But I think it's going to be tough for me to get to much Patrick Corbin.
Alex, do you share that assessment on Corbin? Because I do think your projections back out what Adam's saying.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, good pitcher. The Pittsburgh lineup's still a bit tougher to strike out, though, and that makes me not like him at his price point.
That seems fair. How about the bats here? Adam, I'll turn it back to you because we talk about the ownership on Musgrove, and Washington is a team who does have a pretty good amount of power hitters here versus right-handed pitching. You have guys like Eaton, Rendon, Soto, even though they do have some downsides. These guys have done a good job not striking out and also creating runs overall. all those guys in that top 5, top 6 over a 108 WRC plus. You can have any Washington stacks today going against what might be a chalk Joe Musgrove, Adam?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting spot because I don't think it's a really high probability stack. And there's clearly better spots on the slate, but that should lead to low ownership again. And there are just so many guys in this lineup that have a lot of power. Musgrove's allowed 1.2 home runs per 9 this year, has a 21.5% strikeout percentage. So when you have someone that doesn't strike out a ton of hitters and is facing as much power as Washington has, there's definitely upside for the Nats. So I don't expect him to be my highest owned stack or anything like that, but I do expect that I'll probably be over the field on them.
Alex, how do you feel about the Nats here with no ownership going to anybody in their lineup, it looks like?
Yeah, I think that is really interesting because, I mean, this is a team that has some good GPP players with a lot of power, some stolen bases. So I could definitely see going to the Nats, and the fact that they're super low owned because of the prices is a gift and a curse. So it just means that you're not going to cash this nearly as much, but you have a pretty good shot to win.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Washington on the top stacks tool does have a better chance to be a top stack than their ownership projected by now. In fact, they have the biggest differential between the top stack ownership and their potential to be a top stack right now. So not a perfect spot for them. I'm going to assume no interest in the Pittsburgh side from either of you guys.
Not for me.
Nah. There's Pablo Reyes is like a really cheap maybe punt play if you need some salary relief.
Yeah, that 3-man Reyes, Stallings, Eric Gonzalez stack, I'm sure will be lighting the world on fire with their value. Let's go on to Baltimore. We got Kansas City getting 5.2 implied runs going against Aaron Brooks, a pitcher who has not really shown nothing at all over the last year, giving up a 270 ISO overall, and that high run total for Kansas City does back it out. On the other side, Baltimore getting a pretty high run total as well of 5.3 implied runs going against Mike Montgomery. I know there were some weather concerns, though, Alex. I don't know that you have any here. How are you feeling about the pitching in this game here? And I guess is the potential for rain going to scare you off of all your Mike Montgomery shares?
No, man. Take a look at the radar here. I think that Mike Montgomery, I'm pretty shocked that he has 17% ownership tonight. This is a guy who's not good at striking anyone out. The matchup versus Baltimore, I mean, that's a below average team. But they have a 5.5 team total today, which indicates that their potential today is a lot higher than normal. So I don't really see much reason to go to Montgomery other than the fact that maybe you just need a pitcher that's 4,200. I might rather go to I mean, Aaron Brooks is looking just a tiny bit better to me. It's just about like as good a matchup for him, and he's $200 cheaper. So I might consider that.
Adam, how about you? Because one thing to point out with Mike Montgomery in his last 3 games, he's only given up 2 earned runs in all of those starts. Maybe he's changed things around, Adam, and you're willing to go to Montgomery, or do you share that you might have some Brooks interest as well?
Maybe a little bit of Brooks interest just because he's so cheap, but I'm a lot higher on Montgomery. He's one of my favorite SP2s on the slate. It's not a great park to pitch in, but he's never really been a bad pitcher. He has 196 innings as a starter since 2017. He has an xFIP right around 4, about an 18.5% strikeout percentage, which I think is fine for a $4,200 pitcher. It's a really good strikeout spot against the Orioles. Their lineup has about a 25.7% strikeout percentage, and he's, if anything, made improvements lately, throwing a cutter a lot more that he really never really threw in the past. Over his 6 starts this year, 2 against the Indians, 1 against the Red Sox, 1 against the Mets, 1 against the Tigers, and 1 against the Blue Jays. So not the easiest matchups in all of them. He's averaged a 37+% chase percentage, which for context, league average is right around 31.5%, 32%. So he's getting a ton of swings on pitches out of the zone. He's getting an above average amount of swings and misses as well. I just think that there are enough positives working for him where at his price point, I'm really interested because I think he could actually be a decent raw point play in addition to a good point per dollar play.
Yeah, 4.2 xFIP there. And one of the teams that he did turn around against was Boston, who's obviously going to be a better hitting team than Baltimore. So I actually, to be the tiebreaker here, the usually impartial judge, I'm actually going to side with Adam on Mike Montgomery. And Alex, how are you feeling now? Are you going to up those shares of Mike Montgomery, let's say 50%-ish?
Yeah, I mean, I think now that I'm looking more into it, I'm kind of updating all my projections for the day. He's looking a little better. But if he is going to be the chalk, I do like kind of fading some of these really cheap, really bad pitchers. And I do disagree with the point about Baltimore having the 25% strikeout rate because based on my numbers here, I have them as below average for the day. So I guess maybe we can both take a look at our numbers and see which is more accurate.
I love the idea of getting bogged down in an 11-game slate and debating Mike Montgomery's. That's the kind of show I want to do here on the Deeper Dive. But let's talk about the hitters too, because the hitters are going to be pretty decently owned, especially on the Kansas City side. And one would assume with the ownership that looks like it's going to be going to Mike Montgomery, even though we may think he has some value here, he is going against the Baltimore team who has some power and is in a park that is going to enable their power as best it can. So Adam, how are you feeling about the hitters here, and which do you think you'll have more of between Kansas City and Baltimore?
It'll depend on the ownership. I expect Kansas City will be popular just because of how cheap they are. I prefer the Royals if we're excluding ownership, but I don't think it'll be a spot that I get to a ton just because I expect that you'll get a lot of lineups that are Verlander plus whatever SP2 and then the cheap Kansas City bats. But it is a good spot for them. For the Orioles, there are some decent spots like Anzer Alberto leading off, a really low strikeout guy and an above average hitter so far, small sample size, but has hit well. Mancini's a pretty good hitter. And then Nunez, I think particularly on FanDuel is a strong value, but I think that I can pretty much guarantee I'll have more Montgomery than Orioles in this game.
Alex, how are you feeling about the hitters here? Are you feeling a chalk Kansas City, or are you trying to differentiate there and just avoid them?
Yeah, I think Kansas City would probably be an ownership fade for me, although I could definitely see going here in cash. A couple of guys that jump out on Yahoo or Alex Gordon at $10 and Ryan O'Hearn at $7. Those would make nice cash plays. But I think the ownership on this game is going to be pretty high on the Kansas City side. I do like the Baltimore leverage on DraftKings against Mike Montgomery if he's going to be popular. But on FanDuel and Yahoo, with Montgomery not really in play, I'd probably look elsewhere.
All right, seems fair to me. And also, it is worth noting that Ryan O'Hearn, cheap everywhere and also going to be very chalky everywhere, even though he's been mostly garbage. I guess, Adam, real fast, Ryan O'Hearn at $3K, he does have power. He is going against Aaron Brooks. He gives up a 282 ISO to left-handed batters over the last year. Any interest in Ryan O'Hearn at that price? Do you think he can get out of the funk here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested. It's just an ownership question. Like, I think he's a strong cash game option if you have to pay down at first base. I have him as the top point per dollar first baseman on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I think that it's Logan Morrison, but he's one of the top point per dollar plays. It's just that he's not a good enough hitter that if he's going to draw a ton of ownership that I want to be matching the field.
Cash game Ryan O'Hearn. That's what we've all said about him over the years. Let's keep it moving here. On to the Angels going into Texas once again, getting 4.9 implied runs going against Mike Minor, who has no ownership on him. The Angels stack a little bit owned, but not quite as much over the last few days. Still in the high 90s heat down in Texas as well. So if that's that's definitely worth noting. Texas on the other side getting 5.6 implied runs against Patrick Sandoval, a guy who's probably overpriced, but he does have a 3.6 xFIP in his limited major league sample size this year. Also getting a decent 24% K rate, and he's limited power pretty well with a 112 ISO. Again, only faced 60 batters, but still a guy who's had maybe some upside. 5.6 implied runs against him, not that great though. So Alex, are you feeling any of Mike Minor or Patrick Sandoval here?
I think Mike Minor is like a decent pitcher, but the price point is just too high for someone of his talent. 25% Ks on the year would kind of equate to maybe 7, 8K, and he's 10K. So I don't really see myself getting there, even though, I guess the matchup isn't even good. So definitely a void spot for me. Sandoval, he's been pretty good with strikeouts so far in the majors, but a little bit exceeding my expectations based on his minor league performance of the year. And he's also quite expensive, so he's not really on my radar.
Adam, do you share those takes on the guys?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just really difficult for me to get to Minor in this park and matchup when there's all the pitching on the slate that I do like. The one spot where I could see some interest in pitching in this game is on Yahoo. Patrick Sandoval is $25, and on Yahoo Montgomery's 32, Musgrove's 35. So you don't have those really, really cheap pitchers like you do on DraftKings, and you do have a really expensive Verlander. So I could see taking a shot on him in tournaments, but it's nothing that you're going to be confident in.
That seems fair. And the Angels, again, are going to be chalky. And Alex, as we talked about before the show, if we look at lineup study, which of course you can get with part of our package deals at Osmo.com, so go to Osmo.com/join and use that promo code Deeper Dive for half off your first month of Osmo Plus. Mike Trout going to be chalk again, Alex, and he's been kind of up and down in this Texas series, but you've had him projected well. One would assume that you got to trust the projections here. How are you feeling about the Angels stack and about Mike Trout in particular, Alex?
Yeah, Mike Trout, man, I've heard he's pretty good, but I haven't witnessed it myself these past couple of days. Maybe because I didn't play the early slate yesterday or the one gamer, but he keeps getting these matchups versus left-handers, and if that continues to be the case, I'll continue buying in on him. And I think that the Angel stack is also has some good potential tonight, but it's all site-specific. Where on DraftKings, like maybe they're pretty high owned. On FanDuel, you get significantly lower ownership, so I might look there more often.
Adam, do you agree with the Angels' interest? And talk to me about Texas, too, if you have any interest in them going against Sandoval.
I don't have a ton of interest here. The Angels, like a 5.1 implied run total in Texas is pretty low for this park, and I do have respect for Minor. It's obviously a good hitting environment, but I just have a lot of spots that I really like on this slate. And so getting the Minor is not one that I think I'll get to, especially because at least right now they are projected to be pretty highly owned. I do think that Trout is a clear top value. His salary is down to $5,200 on DraftKings, which is one of the lower prices you'll ever get him at. Upton's a decent play, but overall it's just kind of an ugly stack. And then on the other side, there's no one that I think is like a great option at their position. There's certainly upside for Texas overall just because of the park and because Patrick Sandoval is not a particularly good pitcher. But, Hunter Pence is expensive. Elvis Andrus is an okay shortstop option. Danny Santana is really expensive. And then on top of all that, you have a number 6 hitter who is not in the player pool. So it becomes really difficult to stack when you don't have a number 6 hitter.
Alex, do you share those views on Texas?
Yeah, it's weird that he's not in the player pool. I think that they're looking like a decent play on DraftKings because the ownership is pretty low and the team total 5.7 is appealing. But on FanDuel and Yahoo, it looks like the ownership is a lot higher. I do like Elvis Andrus on Yahoo as cash play at $10, batting third. So I have some interest in this game.
All right, let's move it on to Cleveland here, getting 4.2 implied runs against Marcus Stroman. The Mets on the other side going against Adam Plutko, getting 5.3 implied runs. Plutko struggling big time with power over the last year plus. 277 ISO allowed overall to both sides of the plate. Really no weakness, or actually no positive side to that at all. He does have a low 1.2 whip on the year, so maybe he's kept things under control. And that's also been the MO for Marcus Stroman, who keeps things under control. But going against a Cleveland team, it doesn't offer much in the way of strikeouts. So, Alex, any interest in the pitchers here between Stroman and Plutko?
Let's see. Sorry, I was getting caught up on this 6 hitter for Texas because he's showing up on my salaries thing, but not in the tournament. So I'm a little confused about what's going on there. Do you guys have any idea?
I know DraftKings put out a thing saying that because Texas just acquired him, he's not in the player pool, or like that he won't get points.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is.
All right. I guess he must have been in the early slate or something. That's why he's in there. All right. We're on Philadelphia and Boston.
No, Cleveland, the Mets. Just the pitching real fast because I imagine you're not going to have much here.
Yeah, Stroman, it looks like he's picking up ownership, but I'm not really keen on it. The matchup for strikeouts isn't that good versus Cleveland. Looks like Vegas is giving him a ton of credit, giving the Mets a minus 130 chance to win. But I don't really see him being in play today.
Adam, how about you? Any interest in Marcus Stroman or your fellow Adam? You have to support him, I think, Adam Plutko.
No interest in either pitcher. Stroman's a good real life pitcher, gets a lot of ground balls, but not a lot of strikeouts. And he's priced for, the run prevention numbers more than the strikeout numbers for him. And that's not somewhere that I want to go in DFS. It's also not a good strikeout matchup against Cleveland. And then on the other side, not a great strikeout matchup for Adam Plutko either. And he's not good at pitching. He's not good at limiting runs. He's not good at striking guys out. I'm really interested in the Mets bats, not in Plutko.
So let's talk about those Mets bats, Adam, because they do have a ton of power, at least theoretically, that they should be able to tap into here versus Plutko, who he is limiting runs. He is kind of keeping things in pocket pretty well. Again, that 1.2 whip. Also a fairly lucky 250 BABIP, it looks like. But are you feeling the Mets here as a full stack, as a mini stack? Where are you trying to get to with them?
Yeah, in my first crunch that I did before the show, it looks like I'll be getting as much Mets as I allow myself to get in my 150 lineups. They have a lot of power. They are in a pretty good spot here, and I don't think that they'll be too highly owned. Since the start of last year, Plutko's allowed a 219 expected ISO to righties, 230 to lefties. Not a lot of strikeouts, like I'd said. And then, you just have power with Alonso, Conforto, Ramos for a catcher. JD Davis seems like maybe he's figuring things out. Ahmed Rosario, same thing at the top of the order. So I just think it's a pretty affordable and high upside stack for the Mets.
Alex, how about you? You feeling any Mets stacks today?
Yeah, I think I agree with Adam that pretty good spot, especially on DraftKings and Yahoo, where they're low owned. On FanDuel, a little bit higher owned, but the value is pretty good. So I definitely think I'll have them tonight.
And either of you guys have any interest in Cleveland? I mean, Marcus Stroman, I guess, did get blown up recently. And even though he's not a guy who's prone to blow-ups, maybe something to know. Maybe the Mets thank God on him. Adam, any Cleveland for you?
Probably not. There's a lot of really good hitter matchups here. And Stroman is just, I think, a good pitcher. I think that the salary on Francisco Lindor is appealing, but that might just kind of drive some ownership to him anyway, enough to where I don't really want to get there. So I don't think I'll have much Cleveland. Alex,
no Cleveland for you either, or not much?
I actually like them on DraftKings because 7 out of the 9 batters look like they're pretty good values, and the ownership is really low. So I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe avoiding Carlos Santana in the middle of the order, being the highest priced batter. But I think that Lindor, Allen, Puig, Ramirez, and then pick another guy, that makes a pretty nice stack.
There you go. All right. So there's a little contrarianness there from Alex early. Even though you're not paying up to be contrarian there, you're paying down to be contrarian in that spot.
Paying down to be contrary, man. That's even better.
Got to get the plugs in. On the contrary, coming soon, everybody. Let's go on to Philly heading into Boston. Philly getting 5.2 implied runs against Rick Porcello. On the other side, Boston getting 6.8 implied runs against the somewhat resurgent, but still mostly bad on paper, Drew Smyly. Boston really did seem to me like they kind of phoned it in versus Aaron Nola, but he is a good pitcher. Drew Smyly, not a good pitcher over the last year plus, giving up a 297 ISO overall, and in a very limited sample size, also been getting shelled by lefties apparently. So, Adam, how are you feeling about Drew Smyly here, and can he continue his renaissance against the Boston team, who isn't really playing for much right now, it seems?
I love Boston here. The only thing Smiley's really been decent at this year is getting strikeouts. His walk percentage is high. He's giving up a lot of power. He just has a 23.5% strikeout percentage against right-handed hitters in particular. But that doesn't do you a lot of good when you're talking about right-handed hitters like Betts and Bogarts and Martinez that are low strikeout, high power guys. It just sets up as a spot for Smyly to get absolutely shelled here. It's baseball, so they'll probably score 1 run in 6 innings. But it sets up as one of my favorite spots on the slate. And right now, because they're expensive, we don't have them getting a ton of ownership either, at least in the stack tool relative to their chances of being the top stack. So with ownership how it is right now and with my projections how they are right now, I'm expecting Boston to be probably my highest owned stack.
Alex, do you share that worldview on Boston, given that they have the highest implied total on the slate?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's going to be a tricky stack to manage because 3 of the players have high ownership and the rest of the team has pretty low ownership. So it'll require some creativity. Maybe you take some of these lefty-lefty matchups. But if you have Betts, Bogarts, Martinez, you're probably going to have a really chalk lineup. But if you have maybe 2 out of 3 and then a couple of the other guys, that could be a pretty nice contrarian play.
How about on the other side, Alex? Because I'm going to assume you're not going to want much Rick Porcello, who looks like nobody wants today with under 1% ownership expected for him. But Philly has hit a little better recently, and they didn't get to Brian Johnson yesterday, who was pretty bad. But Porcello also pretty bad in his own way. Just a 1.4 whip and a 5.4 xFIP on the year. Do you see yourself getting any Philly today, Alex?
Yeah, I think the most obvious bet is Logan Morrison. $9 on Yahoo, 21 on FanDuel. A little bit more expensive on DraftKings, so he makes a nice cash play on Yahoo and FanDuel. I think Adam, you mentioned them earlier. Rhys Hoskins on DraftKings continues to get that kind of slump bump down in price, so I like him. And the ownership of the team overall isn't too high, so I think given they have a team total of 5.9, I like it.
Yeah, they do project to be a top stack more than they are owned right now on DraftKings, so that is something that could be valuable there. Adam, how about you in Philly? Any interest?
I think more so as one-offs and mini stacks for me, probably. I don't think Porcello is any good. I think he does give up a lot of power, and there are some power bats, particularly at the top of the lineup with Hoskins, Real Muto, Harper, especially Hoskins. I really like that price tag. I think I'll have a lot of him individually, and then any 2 and 3 man stacks are going to be pretty appealing from the top part of that order.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the halfway point of the show, so please hit that like button. Today, all the shows are on the same link once again, so stay tuned on the same YouTube link. Live Before Lock coming later, but the likes help us out a bunch. And of course, also, if you want to get in on that free half month of Osmo Plus, or just 50% off, I guess, if you want to use the normal terms, you can also go to osmo.com/join and use that promo code Deeper Dive for half off your first month of Osmo Plus. And I'm keeping it moving. Miami heading into a matchup here with Atlanta once again. Miami getting 3.9 implied runs against Julio Teheran. Set a pretty nice showing against Miami about 10 days ago. Atlanta on the other side getting 5.6 implied runs against Caleb Smith, who is a good strikeout pitcher, a 29% K rate on the year, but really has struggled with righty power, giving up a 212 ISO over the last year plus. So it is a spot here where I imagine you could have some ownership on Teheran. You could have some ownership on Smith if you want to be contrarian against the Atlanta ownership, Adam. How are you feeling about Smith and Teheran here?
Smith, I'm not really interested in. I know he has good strikeout stuff, as you said, but he also has not the best walk percentage at 8.7% and not the best matchup here against a lot of power right-handed bats for Atlanta. He struggles with power, and going from Miami to Atlanta is a park downgrade for him. And then also, because he strikes out so many guys and also has a bit of an elevated walk percentage, he tends to have trouble getting deep into games because his pitch count gets up really quickly. So on a slate like this, where you have a Verlander and a Buehler and a Darvish up at the top, it's tough for me to pay the salary that Smith is at. For Teheran, I expect he'll have some ownership, and it's obviously a good matchup against Miami. But right now, I'm not getting too much, and it's mostly because his salary reflects the matchup. Like, if you look at Teheran's numbers, he's got a below average strikeout percentage. He's got a Sierra up around 5.2. The only way that a pitcher like that gets to 9K on FanDuel or 8K on DraftKings is because of a matchup against a team like the Marlins. But people know to roster pitchers against these teams. So you kind of end up just not getting a whole lot of an edge by going to them at elevated ownership at an elevated salary. And then in addition to that, I'm just finding my most common roster construction to be paying all the way up for an SP1 and then taking us close to minimum SP2. And so that just leaves me without much Teheran.
Yes, that's some game theory there. Alex, do you share that game theory thought that Adam has? And would you avoid Julio Teheran today, even though he's in a pretty good spot on paper against Miami?
I don't really have a strong take on it. I mean, the matchup, obviously, as we're talking about, is good. The lineup Miami's rolling out today is particularly good for getting K. It's about 10% better than average. And their team total of 4.4 is a little bit higher than you like, but I think that the price on DraftKings of 8K is about fair, maybe just a tiny bit high. On Yahoo at 37, definitely in play. That equates more to like 7K. And on FanDuel 9K, just a little bit too pricey for me. But I definitely could see myself having him if he fits in the lineup pretty well.
All right, that works. And how about the hitters here? Because the chalkiest hitter, it looks like in this on DK, is going to be Asan Diaz, who is very cheap and theoretically has more power than he's shown in the majors. But Atlanta's going to have some ownership on them, but nobody really exceedingly chalky like some of the other teams we talked about. So, Adam, who do you like here in terms of the hitters on both sides?
Diaz, I think, is a really strong value option, probably the best point per dollar second base play. It's not a bad matchup against Teheran. He's hitting towards the top of the order, gets a positive park shift. So I like him individually. And then from Atlanta, I'm happy with any like Braves that I can get to, because you get so much power with Acuna and Donaldson and Albies, 1, 2, and 4 in that lineup. Freeman hits lefties well. Duvall and Culberson have some power too. So I think Atlanta's in a pretty decent spot for upside. I do have respect for Smith and think that he can kind of limit teams like he can limit anyone, but it is a good matchup for power. So getting to some Atlanta, whether it be mini stacks or full stacks, is pretty appealing. Alex,
do you share that Atlanta interest?
I'm kind of neutral on them. I think that some of the values are really, really good, especially Charlie Culberson at 2K and $7 on FanDuel and Yahoo. He definitely is probably the most underpriced player in the game. San Diaz, also a really good play on all three sites. And I think the stack has pretty good value, not so much on Yahoo. So I think that it's definitely in play, but I don't see a huge edge in ownership today.
All right, that checks out to me. Let's keep it moving here. On to Milwaukee getting 4.1 implied runs against Adam Wainwright. And on the other side, St. Louis getting 4.4 runs against Adrian Hauser, who you would think would have been very popular today. We do have some weather concerns in this game. So, Alex, let's talk about that first here. How are you feeling about the weather? And I guess who do you feel like is more affected here, the bats, or I guess who's affected, the bats or the pitchers, or both?
Yeah, I think the weather is a huge question mark today. It's 2 hours away from game time, so the fact that there's nothing on the radar is an encouraging factor. But weather models predict that tonight will be rainy for sure, like after 9 p.m. and potentially between 7 and 8 p.m. as well. And I think that with that forecast, like I wouldn't be surprised to see an early postponement here just because I don't think people would really want to go out to the game given that it's forecasted to rain all night. And they have an easy opportunity to reschedule it to September when they play the Brewers again. So I'm not really bullish on this game happening, but I'll be keeping an eye out for more information as the night goes on. And it's kind of a shame because I really like Hauser in the spot. He's super underpriced at $5,200 and $6,900 on DraftKings and FanDuel for a guy that gets Ks about a quarter of the time. And a matchup with strikeouts, that's about average. 25% K should be priced more around like 8K, and he's 3K less than that. So he's not like a crazy good pitcher, but the price tag is definitely appealing. And if the weather was good, that would have him a ton. But because it's not, I probably won't play this game a ton unless there's more reason to believe this will actually happen.
There we go. So now we know the weather thing, so keep that in mind. But let's talk about the game for the rest of this as though it's going to play. Adam, how are you feeling about Hauser, assuming this game does get off?
Yeah, I like Hauser a lot, assuming the weather cooperates. Overall for the season, he has a 24.7% strikeout percentage, 3.91 Sierra. As a starter, he struck out 22.4% with a 4.2 Sierra. Really, really good ground ball percentage too, which I like in a pitcher that cheap because it just makes it a little bit easier for him to get deeper into games and give us innings at a price point where innings are valuable. Not the best strikeout matchup against the Cardinals, but you do have some strikeouts with Fowler, Goldschmidt, and then Bader and the pitcher. So not the worst matchup either. It'll all come down to the weather, but if the weather cooperates, he'll be up there with Montgomery as my highest owned SP2.
All right, and let's talk about the bats real faster, assuming, again, the weather cooperates, which we're currently leaning the way where we're not feeling confident about that. Milwaukee's going to have some ownership. It looks like mostly going to Yasmani Grandal, but not a terribly owned Milwaukee team. And St. Louis on the other side, not going to have anybody on them at all. So, Adam, here, any interest in the hitters in this game at all?
Some interest in the cheaper guys on Milwaukee. Grandal in particular, like you said, getting ownership, but he's very affordable. I think Christian Yelich is a good contrarian play in tournaments just because he's more expensive than Mike Trout. And Trout will get a lot of ownership. You'll get people paying up for Cody Bellinger in the outfield. So you're just going to get like no ownership on Yelich probably, but Ed Moustakis is at a good price point too. But overall, it's a 4.3 implied run total. Wainwright's been pretty decent this year. Better against righties than lefties, but not terrible against lefties either. So I don't think I'll have tons of Milwaukee.
Seems fair to me. Alex, how do you feel about this one? You're going to have any interest in the hitters on either Milwaukee or St. Louis if the game does go?
I think Grandal is always a cash play because the position is so weak and he gets position lineup spots higher in the order. So today I'd be interested in him, but the value on both teams isn't really that great. So I probably would lean somewhere else, all things considered.
All right, that checks out. Let's keep it moving on to San Francisco, heading into a game at Wrigley, a game in which there does not appear to have wind blowing out. In fact, I think the last I checked, the wind was blowing in. Let me just confirm that's still looking that way. Yeah, wind blowing in today, though not terribly bad. But the Giants here getting 3.4 implied runs going against Yu Darvish. The Cubs getting 5.6 implied runs against Derek Rodriguez. It seems like the pitchers here, Adam, you mentioned some interest in Yu Darvish, so I'll turn it over to you first. Darvish, a kind of viable pivot to the Verlander-Buehler tier if you're not willing to go to those guys, I guess, for 100% of your ownership. So how are you feeling about Darvish today, Adam?
Yeah, I really like Darvish. I'm just not sure how much I'll get to from a roster construction standpoint. Like right now, I'm not getting a lot on DraftKings because I'm just getting to as much Verlander as I can. But Darvish has clearly made some improvements this year after a shaky start to the season. In his first 13 starts, he had a double-digit walk percentage in 10 of those 13 starts. In the 12 since, he has not had a double-digit walk percentage once. He hasn't walked a single batter over his last 4 games. Over those last 12 starts, he has a 31.8% strikeout percentage to go with the 2.5% walk percentage, 3.13 xFIP. So he's back to looking like a dominant pitcher, and you're getting a discount on him at 10K on DraftKings, 9,800 on FanDuel, and I think 47 or 48 on Yahoo. Not the best strikeout matchup against the Giants, but also not a very good Giants offense. A low 3.5 implied run total here. Wind's blowing in a little bit in Wrigley. So on a lot of slates, I would be getting tons of Darvish, but because of Verlander, it's kind of hard for me to get a lot.
Alex, do you share that on Darvish, where he is technically a pivot to those guys, but it does seem like in a raw point standpoint, Darvish projects significantly worse than Buehler and Verlander?
Yeah, I think that, let's see. He does offer a significant price decrease from those guys, so I think he's a good play on his own merits. With, as you guys are saying, 29% Ks. The matchup for strikeouts is it's okay, not great. Versus the Giants, the run prevention should be a strong potential today, but the price tag is kind of overpriced for his talent level, so I'm not like super keen on it, and I'd rather spend down on that pitcher and get some better bats in there.
Yeah, and speaking of better bats, I mean, not that I guess this is not a good transition because the Giants are not better bats. They do have some guys who have lefty power in there, and Darvish has struggled with lefty power, even though he has turned things around, as Adam mentioned. He has given up a 227 ISO over the last year plus, going back to the beginning of last season. And you do have some guys who have hit lefties pretty well. I mean, or excuse me, you have hit as lefties pretty well. Dickerson, in a limited sample size, hit really well. Vogt has hit really well. Yastrzemski has also hit really well against righties. So, Adam, would you have any interest at all in these Giants bats?
The problem is just that most of them are kind of expensive, and the ones that I really would like are outfielders. Dickerson and Yastrzemski are both perfectly fine plays, but I just have trouble getting them ahead of so many other outfielders when they're on a team with a 3.5 implied run total in pretty questionable hitting conditions. Scooter Gennett's really cheap too. Maybe you could use him as a pivot to Isan Diaz, but I prefer Diaz at that price point. So there's certainly home run upside, but I don't think I'll get to much of the Giants.
Alex, do you share that on the Giants and as not being a team that you're going to get to too much?
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is they're one of the lower projected teams of the night, so there's not much incentive to go there.
That's fair. How about the Cubs? You did have some moments of greatness yesterday, including our own Chris Randone's double dong pick. Anthony Rizzo going off. Chris Randone on a double dong hot streak 2 days in a row. So there you go. Good job, Alex, bringing him on board. We got the double dong pick now. But how are you feeling about the Cubs, Alex, going into this spot here? Against Derek Rodriguez, a pitcher who's not good, but does generally keep things in pocket pretty well and limit hard contact.
I could see some more double dongs here today. I'm calling the double dong. No, I'm just kidding. I think that this is site specific. They are fairly priced on DraftKings and pretty good values on Yahoo, but also popular. On FanDuel, they're priced up a little bit. But they're really, really low owned, and I think I might take some chances on them tonight, especially on FanDuel where the ownership is so low.
Yeah, it's fair. A bunch of hitters here have been really good versus righties as well. Everybody in their lineup besides Victor Caratini over a 111 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching going back to last year. Adam, how about you? Any Cubs interest at all here? Because they're not going to be too owned, but they do have a little bit of interest in them, it looks like.
Yeah, I do, because right now, like Alex said, they're just not projected for a ton of ownership. And it's not the best hitting conditions. It's not the best matchup, but it's not a bad matchup either. And it's not like the wind's blowing in really, really hard. It's just more that it's not blowing out. But they also are really favorably priced for how much power they have. When you go from Nick Castellanos really down through the bottom of the order, everyone in this lineup has power, and Rodriguez doesn't miss a lot of bats. So I think that it is a high upside offense that right now isn't projected for a ton of ownership.
All right, that seems fair to me. Let's keep it going here. And again, hit that like button, guys. The likes help us out. And also, it gives us some momentum going into Live Before Lock because those both shows are on the same stream today. So go keep your eyes peeled here for the next hour and a half. You're going to have a ton of content in MLB DFS coming your way. This is the marquee spot at pitcher today. Of course, I'm referring to Daniel Norris going against Houston for 6 implied runs. Actually, Justin Verlander on the other side, a guy you may have heard of, getting one of the lowest implied totals of the year, 2.5 runs implied runs against him. Also getting one of the bigger, I think somebody in the YouTube chat, I want to give credit because I think SJM said it, the largest money line, I think, since 2005. Yeah, Astros, the biggest money line favorite in MLB since 2005, according to our SJM26B in the premium Slack. So it is a spot here where Justin Verlander, of course, is going to get blown up by the Detroit Power today. But Adam, how are you feeling about Verlander today in the spot that looks on paper like it can't miss?
It's one of the best spots I can remember for a pitcher. And Verlander's expensive. And I think that my exposure to him would probably vary somewhat by site. On DraftKings, I think it's really easy to get to him because you do have potentially Hauser, you have Musgrove, you have Montgomery, you even have Aaron Brooks at 4K. Like you can throw out all these cheap guys as SP2s, and so you're not spending a ton of money at pitcher overall. On FanDuel and Yahoo, he's really expensive, and obviously on FanDuel you can't balance him out with an SP2 at all. On Yahoo, Musgrove and Montgomery and Hauser are a little bit more expensive, so it's not quite as easy there. And you also get a bigger gap from Verlander to Buehler on those sites. So while I still think Verlander's the top pitcher, I probably would have a little bit less exposure to him. On DraftKings, though, I'm getting probably somewhere between 80 and 100% because it's not really difficult for me to get to him. I don't like the mid-range of pitching all that much, so I don't think the opportunity cost to this type of roster construction is that high. And it's just kind of a spot where if the Tigers actually have a good game against Verlander, then so be it.
All right. That seems like the approach that many of us will take today, but I'm sure many people will come in afterwards if Verlander somehow gets blown up today and be like, I told you that 2.5 implied run total wasn't going to work out. But Alex, how do you feel about it here in Verlander, again, getting a really low implied total? And I guess historically, you're obviously playing so many slates. Is this possibly the best matchup we've had on paper for a pitcher all year?
I mean, I think that it's a good matchup for run prevention, and that's why we're seeing this money line with Detroit having by my production 10% less than average ability to get on base and about 20% less power. Not really many stolen bases either. I don't know if I agree with that 2.5 figure that people are publishing. Like, that seems a little bit ridiculous to me. I know that maybe when the odds are stacked up so heavy like they are tonight, like it might throw people off a little bit. But this Detroit lineup actually isn't that great for Ks. I have it at about average. And I saw some strikeout props for Verlander out there of like 10 or something. I mean, like, I just don't see it. He'd have to strike out like 40% of guys, basically. And I'd probably take the under on that. So I think that it's a really nice spot for sure. And the price tag is definitely warranted. But I don't think it's like an amazing point per dollar play. And for that reason, like, I could definitely see building a lot of lineups with cheaper pitchers.
All right, so Alex, I'm gonna completely misquote you right now. So you're really down on Justin Verlander. How are you feeling about the Detroit bats here? You got Travis DeMeritte taking a bump up the lineup, the only guy who's above a 160 ISO in that entire lineup, it looks like. So how are you feeling about Detroit stacks today?
I think they're really good on Yahoo, where I have them as a 22% chance of being my top value stack. I mean, on the average price is like $8. So I mean, instead of getting a couple coffees at Starbucks, you could get a Detroit hitter instead.
There you go. Adam, any interest at all in Detroit for you? Because, you got to cover your butt, I guess, as a tout.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. And Houston on the other side, of course, they are a really good team as well, going against Daniel Norris, a guy who has given up some pretty hard contact, also given up some pretty good power with the 205 ISO going back to last season, but has kept things kind of under control more than it may seem with the 4.7 xFIP and a strikeout rate of 20%, which isn't terrible, but he's not facing the Astros too often, who've obliterated left-hand pitching on the year. Adam, how do you feel about Houston here going against Daniel Norris and what seems like a nice spot for him?
I think it's a great spot. Right now, I'm not getting to a lot because of ownership, which just scares the hell out of me, and I'm hoping it changes between now and lock because it is a really, really good spot. You even have some value on Houston, which I think is driving up their ownership. You have Jack Mayfield at the absolute minimum on DraftKings with multi-position eligibility, which opens up a lot. You also have Miles Straw at the bottom of that order. Robinson Chirinos sitting sixth is a really good value option at catcher. So I think, those guys probably driving up the ownership a bit. I love the spot for Houston. It really will just, my exposure to them will just be determined by how their ownership looks in our final update.
Alex, how are you feeling about Houston here? Because as I had mentioned, they are pricey, but they do have those value bats, and Jack Mayfield looks like going to be very chalky because of that low price he has on a bunch of sites. So how are you feeling about Houston, Alex?
Yeah, I think they're definitely a good play today as far as projection. Aside from Yahoo, where the top five are just like insanely high priced. I think that this kind of unbalanced game might throw some people's algorithms off, like if they're using a lot of Vegas data. But so I think that Houston may be going a little bit over-owned today based on what I'm seeing. But a lot of that is due to like Mayfield being the minimum price on all three sites and getting a ton of ownership. So I was building a stack, I wouldn't mind kind of leaving him out of it and just like so many Houston stacks are going to have him, and if you put them at 0, you're going to be in a really good spot.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you can go to some other cheap guys. As Adam mentioned, you got Miles Straw is cheap as well and could save you some money. And Robinson Chirinos, a catcher, also fairly affordable. So that could be a spot to differentiate and still get some power in there. And those guys also less owned. Let's keep it going. On to the Yankees here, getting 4.5 implied runs against flyball Mike Fiers, who is also inexplicably good Mike Fiers this year. 1.1 whip despite a 5.3 xFIP and just no strikeouts, a 17% K rate, 8% swinging strike rate. One of the more baffling pitchers to look at data-wise. And Oakland on the other side going against J.A. Happ, who is a lefty who has been really bad on the year. The Yankees just kind of ruining him the same way they did Sonny Gray, it looks like. Strikeout rates down, giving up more walks and hits, 1.4 whip up to this year. Not a great pitcher overall, it looks like. But Adam, how do you feel about the pitching here with this star matchup between Fiers and Happ?
I think it's really tough to get to the pitching. Fiers is just really, really expensive. He's 9,600 on DraftKings, which is in like Marco Gonzalez 10.6K territory as far as absurdity goes. J.A. Happ's price tag is fine, but the strikeouts just haven't been there this year. He's basically gone back to the form that he had most of his career outside of the last year and a half. And it's not a good strikeout matchup anyway against Oakland. It's a good pitcher's park as far as run prevention goes, but I just have a really hard time getting to either pitcher.
Alex, do you share that sentiment about not getting to either pitcher? It looks like the field shares that as well, with neither guy over 2% ownership on DK.
I think when it comes to the main slate, yes, but on the night slate, I think you might have to stomach picking Happ even in a terrible spot just because there are no cheap pitchers that are any good.
Okay, that seems very good. Hold your nose and play them on the night slate, of course.
Yeah.
With our ownership projections, by the way, which we have at Awesemo.com, we do them for the night slate as well. So check them out at Awesemo.com/join and get half off your first month with that promo code Deeper Dive. How about the hitters here? Because J.A. Happ has gotten hit pretty hard on the year, giving up a 5% or 5.4% on run rate, as well as just not striking guys out as well. Adam, I'll turn it to you first. Do you have any interest in the Oakland stacks, even though the park is going to limit hitting overall?
Not a ton, just because the park's not great. I do think you can go to some one-offs just for power, but Oakland's not even really that cheap. Like Matt Chapman's pretty expensive, and he'd be one of my favorite bats. Chris Davis is a really good value. I think that he's a perfectly fine play, but I'm not getting to a lot of Oakland.
Alex, how about you? Any Oakland?
Chris Davis is probably going to be in my Yahoo cash lineup. Come at me, bros, if you disagree. I think they're in play. They have over a 5-team total, pretty low ownership. So I think I could end up with some. I like the Yankees more because, I mean, it's a little bit their team total 5.3 is pretty low for them. I guess we don't have a lineup yet, but there are a couple of guys that are good plays on DraftKings, like Judge and Gregorius, just under 4K, like way underpriced for their talent levels. And the ownership is pretty low, so I could see myself doing that as a anti-optimizer play.
Adam, do you share that thought about the Yankees potentially being an anti-optimizer play?
Yeah, I'm getting to some Yankees too. It's not great hitting conditions, but unlike Oakland, they are priced down a bit. Judge is at probably the cheapest price point that we've gotten him at all year. Sanchez is really low. Torres shouldn't really have ownership, but he's got a ton of power. And Mike Fiers does struggle with right-handed power. This park, of course, helps to downplay that, but there's enough of it in this Yankees lineup where if he's not locating, they can get to him in a pretty big way.
Yeah, 196 ISO to right-handed batters over the last year for Fiers, and that's not a great number going against this Yankees lineup. And also, if you want to go get at Alex's cash game lineups with Chris Davis, you can go to Yahoo right now. Get $30 free with a $30 deposit and YSRPs, the Yahoo Sports Reward Points. Go check the link I'm going to drop in the YouTube chat right now, Emax Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article, which will give you a way to get in there. Use the promo code AWESEMO to get that $30 in YSRPs along with your deposit. And they, of course, they are the sponsor of the Deeper Dive, so thank you to them for helping us do this show every day with these two great men across from me. Let's keep it moving here. Toronto getting 2.9 implied runs against the other big ace on the slate, Walker Buehler, who is going to be pretty decently owned, but not Verlander owned, it looks like, on most sites. And then the Dodgers on the other side getting 5.7 implied runs going against Wilmer Fonts. They, of course, went nuts yesterday against Sean Reed Foley and the bullpen. And it's another day here where Font giving up a lot of power, getting a 10.2% barrel ball rate on the year, which is not good. Looks like a nice spot for them, but perhaps not for Font. So let's just not talk about Font, I guess. Let's talk about Walker Buehler, Alex. How are you feeling about him, and where are you going to have him relative to the field and ownership?
I feel good about him. I think It will depend a little bit on the Blue Jays lineup to see. But right now, I project them for being significantly better than average for getting strikeouts. And I think that will help Walker Buehler get close to Verlander in projection. The Toronto team total is comparable to the Detroit team total based on my calculation. And he's a little bit cheaper. So I think that I'll probably value him about equally to Verlander, even though, the historic money line is definitely kind of an interesting storyline. I'm not really as worried about getting the win. So I guess what I should say, I mean, the Dodgers are at minus 365, so that's only, it's like 20% compared to like 18% of the team losing. So it doesn't really make that much of a difference.
But it's not as historic of a money line since 2005, Alex. So that's
exactly, yeah.
Got to go with that. Adam, how do you feel about Walker Buehler here? And I guess, is there anything that would give you some reason to go to Buehler over Verlander? Because I think you mentioned on some of the other sites you thought that was a more reasonable play.
Yeah, I like it more on Yahoo and FanDuel because you're getting an extra bat or two by saving that money. On DraftKings, I'm not getting to a lot of Buehler just because I have Verlander projected so much higher. Verlander for the season has his strikeout percentage is 6 percentage points higher. He's got a better matchup against Detroit, and he's only $600 more. And right now we have Verlander projected for like twice the ownership of Buehler on DraftKings. I would need it to get a lot bigger gap than that for me to start favoring Buehler in at basically the same price point. But on FanDuel, there's a $1,200 discount. On Yahoo, there's, I think it's like a $12 or $13 discount. So you start to be able to make completely different lineups while still getting what I think is the second best pitcher on the slate.
So I have to ask this question. I'll ask you, Adam, first, because I think you maybe have some chance of seeing value in him. Wilmer Font at all, is that a thought? Because the Dodgers are going to be chalky. They just went nuts yesterday. Maybe a leverage play, even though Font doesn't pitch deep in the games and gives up a 241 ISO.
No, I can't get to the opener here. Like I'd rather go with Aaron Brooks because if he pitches well, at least he'll go 5 or 6 innings. I think it's supposed to be Zach Godley coming in after Font. So no.
Okay. And Alex, I'll throw it to you real fast, but I assume no interest in Font as well.
Yeah, man. Not even on the nice slate.
Okay, that is fair. How about these Dodgers hitters? Because they are going to be pretty chalky. It looks like Jock Peterson expected to be back in the leadoff spot. Actually, no, he is going to be back in the leadoff spot because that's a confirmed lineup. Going to be pretty decently owned, though, where he's a value on DK, especially 3,900. And also Max Muncy and Cody Bellinger getting some ownership as well. Pretty high ownership for those guys. And Toronto not getting much ownership, of course, but the Dodgers are the most relevant part. So, Adam, how are you feeling about the Dodgers today? And can they recreate what they did yesterday?
Yeah, right now it looks like I'm getting to a lot of Dodgers. Unfortunately, I didn't yesterday, and our last ownership projection, I ended up getting away from them. But right now I'm getting there. I think that they're getting ownership, but it's just not enough right now, at least to drive me away. Peterson's getting a lot, Muncy and Bellinger in double digits as well. But if you just avoid one of those guys in your stack, you have a pretty contrarian stack, and it's a really high upside spot for them against Godley, Font, but then Godley, who's been really bad this year. So I like the Dodgers a lot.
Alex, how are you feeling about the Dodgers here? Because it looks like ownership-wise, they are projecting to be higher owned with their chances of being a top stack going against this Font Godley power duo that we have today, this Megazord that those two are forming. How are you feeling about the Dodgers today, Alex?
I think they're a good projected play, but the ownership is pretty high on certain guys, like on Jock, above 20% on all 3 sites. Really good value, so I can totally understand that. But that is concerning. But I think you can make pretty nice stacks. I don't know if they'll be my top stack because of the ownership, though.
All right, and I guess Toronto here, they did do some damage to Kershaw. Kershaw still put it together for a decent day. He did seem like a safe play when we all talked about him yesterday. And even though he gave up some production, it ended up being okay. We do have decent hitters, though, in Toronto who are not going to be highly owned. And Buehler really doesn't struggle with power, also gets a lot of strikeouts, as Adam mentioned before. And just a 126 ISO allowed over the last 2 years. So it's not a spot where you'd think Buehler would give it up. But any interest at all in Toronto for you, Adam, given that Buehler is going to be pretty chalky?
No, slate's just big enough where I don't expect Buehler to have enough ownership where going to a low probability play like Toronto makes a lot of sense for me. The best I could do would be saying that Guerrero has too much power to be $3,500, but even that I think is a bit of a stretch in this matchup.
Alex, how about you? Any interest at all in Toronto? They don't project too well for you, it looks like, but maybe a play to have one stack of?
Yeah, I mean, I love this 0.4 4% chance of being the top stack. You gotta like those odds.
Yeah, look, it's a chance, right? There's a chance in the world of MLB DFS.
That's just me hedging, man. Like I'd have to go with 0%, but like just in case like they go off, that's why I give them 0.4.
That's why you are the number one player in the world, Alex. That's got to cover all the bases. All right, we got a couple minutes left here. So guys, hit that like button. Alex and Adam are going to give their top stacks and pitchers, but those picks will only be as good as the amount of likes we have. And even though we did set a like record the other day on this shared stream, we want to keep that momentum going. So please hit that like button for us. And of course, also go check out Yahoo Daily Fantasy. Check out that link in the YouTube chat right now to go deposit yourself a $30 and get $30 free from Yahoo, our partners over there. Adam, who is going to be your top pitchers on the slate?
Verlander, Montgomery on DraftKings. On other sites, Montgomery's not really appealing.
All right, Alex, have you been won over to the Montgomery side? Who are your top pitchers?
Yeah, I could see Montgomery being in there. I think Musgrove will probably be in a lot of lineups, and probably like Buehler, Verlander. I think Hauser will also be popular, but I'm not as bullish on the weather in that game. But if you're playing the game, then I think he's a great option.
All right. And how about the top stacks for you, Adam? Who are going to be your favorite hitters on the slate?
Let me see. I just refreshed for our most recent ownership projections. So it looks like getting to a lot of – so I'm getting to less Dodgers now that I updated that. It looks like Mets and Boston.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, Boston does look like a pretty big discrepancy between their chance of being a top stack and their ownership right now. Alex, how are you feeling about your top stacks today?
I like Boston, Philadelphia, and then Texas, but only on DraftKings.
And is there an anti-optimizer play for you that jumped out? I know we talked about maybe one or two.
I think the Yankees, but when I did refresh, it looks like that one's anti-optimizer on FanDuel, where they have 1% ownership.
Gotcha. All right. So that is it, guys. It'll be tomorrow, Josh and Adam for the next few days. Alex will be going back to his genius, his island of isolation to go get better at DFS every single day. That's where you go. A hyperbaric chamber, I assume.
Isolation tank.
Yeah, there you go. That's all you need. That's the one key to winning at DFS. But we appreciate the sport. I appreciate the sport, especially for me filling in for Lock this week. So thank you guys for watching. Please hit that like button. And also, please stay tuned for Live Before Lock coming next on the same link. You don't have to go anywhere. It's as convenient as could be for you guys. So thank you guys for watching. Alex, any parting words before we go?
Yeah, I'll just agree with your sentiment there. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Good luck, guys.
Ooh, let's fix this hat. What's up, everybody? Live before lock. Shit, I don't know what day it is. Wednesday, August 21st. 11-game slate coming up soon. I'm honestly a little nervous for weather updates because I have stupid amounts of Hauser and I don't really want to recrunch and change anything. But, Jake, what do you think of this slate?
Yeah, it looks like a fun one with the weather we've got going on for a pitcher that might be pretty popular. Outside of that, though, looks pretty good. Studs, we've got some super cheap guys we can play, at least on the two pitcher sites, and then I think a lot of hitting. So hopefully some fireworks tonight.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be a pretty boom bust day for me, I think, but I'm cool with that.
You're concentrated today?
Little bit. All of my pitching exposure is in 5 guys, basically, which shouldn't be terribly shocking. I've got like 7 times the field of the Mets right now, so that's happening. Should be fun. But yeah, let's get the plugs out of the way first. Live Before Lock is the promo code. 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. Any monthly package you choose, including packages with Fantasy Cruncher. If you're looking to try out everything we have to offer, including projections, which are free today if you want to check them out, and wet your whistle a little bit, get a taste. Live Before Lock is that promo code. And we are brought to you on Live Before Lock by FantasyDraft. If you're interested in getting $1,000 in rake-free entries in your first 7 days, go to FantasyDraft.com, use the promo code AWESEMO. This is the place to be for rake-free fantasy. The deal is fantastic to be able to get that much just immediately lopped off. Not a single fee. Everything that you're putting out has the potential to come back. You cannot beat that. Every single entry fee is paid out to the winners. It's might be the new normal in the future. We shall see. But if you want to check it out, FantasyDraft.com. Promo code AWESEMO. Let's start at the top. Justin Verlander, Walker Buehler. Verlander, a bit more owned than Buehler as of right now, but I've got a hot take.
Is the hot take that you're playing more Buehler than Verlander?
I have more Buehler than Verlander right now. By a decent amount on FanDuel, it's relatively close on DraftKings.
Okay. I haven't crunched FanDuel yet, but on DraftKings, I'm getting more Verlander by a pretty good amount. Just depends how much. I don't know. I don't think I need the extra $600 all that much. So kind of getting to what I want without having to drop down to Buehler. But he's a pretty good consolation prize at lesser ownership. We'll say that.
I'm at the point now where I think I like him more. Not even just because of my ownership, but it's super close. But everything that I'm saying right now is basically meaningless. Because in 25 minutes, if we don't know what's going on with this Brewers game, I have 53% Adrian Hauser right now. So everything that I have is meaningless.
Yeah, I'm going to
end up with 100% Joe Musgrove if I got to pull Hauser.
Well, the postponement risk is on the decline these last few updates on the rankings projections page. So I don't know. It's looking better than what it was when the deeper dives started.
For sure.
I still don't know. I don't know. Do we just play this game? I don't know. I'm probably playing it right now.
Right now, I'm playing it as well. I am super scared considering I have so much Hauser. But like, if I'm playing it, I'm playing it. It's all or nothing for me. Like, I'm not going to hedge and play 15% Hauser, and then what's the point, you know?
Yeah, that's true. So Alex just tweeted from the Awesemo Weather account. It's just at Awesemo Weather. If you guys want to follow this, he says, still nothing has materialized on the radar in St. Louis, but there's still reasonable precipitation probabilities all the way from 7 p.m. on. So I think there's a reasonable chance of a shortened game and outside chance of a postponement. And then he adds to the thread, since Hauser is the guy I'm interested in, I wouldn't mind a shortened game.
Yeah, I would be happy for Hauser to go 5 and get the funk out of there.
Get the complete game shutout.
Yeah, that would be dope. I wouldn't be bummed at all.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad deal.
What are you doing with Yu Darvish? He is in one of the more unique spots I've seen this year in that I think he's a really good play, and I can barely get to him.
I'm not getting to Darvish that much either. It's basically Verlander or bust for me right now. And now looking like we might have Hauser on the slate. I just think the best lineup construction is just to go Verlander or Bueller with one of these cheap guys. You got a bunch of them down here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I agree with you. Darvish is a good play. He's going to project well, and he's maybe a little bit under-owned, but just still don't think he has the massive upside. He's up to 10K now, and I don't think he's nearly as good of a pitcher as Bueller or Verlander right now.
I don't know what to do. I feel like it's a mistake that I'm not getting there. Like, I feel like Darvish is the main slate's Giolito today.
Yeah, similar ownership, I suppose. The reason I would get to some Darvish, I'm going to get to some Darvish, but that's if I juice the hitter projections up a little bit and I can't get up to Verlander or Bueller. So it's not insignificant if you're like, if you end up with Darvish compared to Bueller. That's $1,400 remaining. That's huge. Yeah. That's 1 or 2 hitter upgrades. So like if you're trying to get to Houston, Boston stack, you might not be able to fit in Verlander or Bueller. You might have to drop down to Darvish as your SP1 and go with one of these super cheap guys as your SP2. So I don't think it's bad, but was able to fit in the stacks I really want tonight with Verlander and or Bueller.
Other guys that are picking up ownership. Marcus Stroman, 12% right now. I have one. I'm not sure I understand that one. Are you getting to Stroman?
I had one share out of 150. So no, not really.
Okay.
I don't understand this one.
No.
84, not a good strikeout matchup. Like good hitters on Cleveland. I mean, wind blowing out and 82. I know he's a ground ball pitcher and he's got a decent shot at the win, but what? I don't know. Why do you need Stroman tonight? And you can just play Tehran at 8K.
Yeah, you don't. Speaking of Tehran, 16% owned. I have 7. I feel the same way about Stroman as I do. Well, like I don't have interest in Stroman because he's not that kind of pitcher. I would, again, with Tehran, I would rather just pay down further. Is his ceiling really all that different from Joe Musgrove?
Tehran?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's not a high ceiling pitcher. His K rate kind of sucks for an 8K pitcher, but it's the Marlins, and he is another big favorite tonight. So, like, he's another guy I might get to, and I'm just trying to jam in as many expensive bats as possible into some lineups here. I might get to some Tehran as my SP1, but not oftentimes I'm going to get to him with Verlander or Bueller. So I would say at most I get towards the field with Tehran on DK.
As of right now, from Musgrove down, ignoring Daniel Norris, I have 104% ownership. So essentially all of my SP2s are from Musgrove down. It's 104% of 200.
Wow.
With 79% going to Verlander and Bueller.
Yeah, so you're concentrated. I heard you and Adam this morning, and that's exactly how I'm going to be, especially even more so if Hauser is going to be a thing. Yeah. And I've got
so much Hauser.
I've got at least teens of all of Montgomery, Hauser, Brooks, and Musgrove. Even Smiley almost double digits right now. So it's going to be a lot of these cheap guys. I think that's the best way to go. One or two of them is going to have decent games, you would think at least. And that's going to be huge on a Verlander Bueller slate.
This is like the most fun slate we've had in a while.
Yeah, it's always fun until you lose money, right?
That's a good point.
Man. But no, it is a fun slate. I think
Like, are we missing something on lineup construction? Because I just don't see a real reason to get away from these guys on an 11-game slate. If it was a 4-game slate or a 5-game slate or something, and everyone was doing it, then sure, go to other guys. But like Stroman's getting ownership. Like Teheran, I don't know. These guys are guys that are fine, but I'm just never concerned about pitcher ownership for super cheap guys because they can still so easily be the nuts at 16, 25, 22, 25% ownership. It just doesn't matter as much. It's more of a line of construction thing with the 2 pitcher sites.
You mentioned Smiley close to 10. That was one that I thought was going to accidentally happen to me. I'm happy that's not happening. I do have a couple shares of Brooks, but you said you have him in the teens?
Oh, no. I've got Brooks in at, well, so this is with only high hitter projections, like multiplied hitter projections. But I would say, so I got 30 there of like my top 150. But that's an ownership thing as much as it is a cheap thing. And I would say I probably get to like 20% Brooks. He sucks, but so do the Royals. So does Montgomery. Why is everybody going to Montgomery?
Compared to Brooks?
4x the field? Montgomery is 4 times the ownership of Brooks.
Yeah?
You think he outperforms him 80% of the time here?
I think... Wow, what's the best way to say this? I don't necessarily... Like, if you average their performances out over whatever stretch, I don't think that the gap in their points are that huge. Like, I've got Alex has Brooks slightly ahead. I have Montgomery slightly ahead. You know, it's close to a wash. But I think that Mike Montgomery against the Orioles is in more winning lineups if you play this slate over and over again than Aaron Brooks is. Because I think that Mike Montgomery actually has talent. So, like, I think Montgomery's error bars are bigger.
Fair enough. Montgomery, neither guy has strikeout upside, like realistic strikeout upside that you could actually predict here. But I don't know if it's going to be a disparity in ownership here. Why not just take the lower owned guy and hope Montgomery gets blown up? I like Baltimore bats too, so
I get it.
Added leverage, like it just makes all the sense in the world. Unless they come together and all of a sudden you got Brooks at 13 and Montgomery at 17, then yeah, just take whatever guy is your favorite or projects better. But
I mean, either way, I'm under the field on Montgomery and Brooks because of Adrian Hauser. So,
and that might be a thing too. I might not need to get to Brooks because right now I have the postponement risk baked in to all my stuff when it comes out. If it comes down to 0% or 1% or something.
What did you say it's at right now?
I think it was at 10.
Okay.
Last time we got an update 6 minutes ago.
Okay.
That's fine. If it's at 10, I might just manually change it to 0 and just say I'm playing the game because I am super interested in Hauser. But if not, it's not the end of the world. Still getting to a bunch of them.
We still need, 2 lineups, Yankees and Blue Jays?
Oh, wow. Okay, so I guess I hadn't refiltered. And I got up to from like 15% Hauser to 36.
There you go. Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, when you go from 10% to 0% based on how I do it. And that put Brooks down to 24. I had 30 before. Musgrove under 30. So that's okay. I like that a little bit better.
Sounding a little bit better there.
Yeah.
Are you getting to anybody else that the public's not on?
Let's see here.
J.A. Happ, perhaps?
Oof. Perhaps not.
Caleb Smith?
No. Okay. None of these guys. So the guys I got straight zeros of were Derek Rodriguez, Porcello, Fires, Plutko, Smith, Corbin, Wainwright, Minor, Happ, Sandoval, Font.
Font? You playing Font?
Those are the guys I got 0 of. So no.
You're not going Font. To your boy Zach Godley at 6,900?
Oh man, he's been a disaster. I
that was like your original boy, man.
Yeah, he was good for a few starts early in the season last year, and then he's just been just very, very bad since. I don't know what happened to him. Can't strike guys out anymore. Can't really do anything.
Now he's a Blue Jay. He used to be
So
a snake. Now he's a bird.
I know.
Yeah, so I have 43% Walker Buehler on DK right now. I have 38 on FanDuel.
Of Buehler?
Yeah. He took a very large climb for me throughout the day, and then an even bigger boost while I was looking at the deeper dive. So
that seems like a lot for any pitcher, for you at least on FanDuel, and for me. I don't often do that.
Yeah, so 38, 24, 13 for Darvish. I have 75% of my exposure going to those three guys. I think today is just a very different day.
On FanDuel, you just pay up.
Yeah.
I think most days are like that, but I'm probably going to get a little bit of some of these cheaper dudes just because it's going to be, I want a variety of different constructions.
Yeah. Like I've, a couple shares of Musgrove, Wainwright, Hauser, Happ. It's fine.
Yeah. Man, this is going to be a weird slate. You just hope you get the right guy at the bottom. Like on FanDuel, I agree. It's mostly just pay up.
Yeah. Well, it's just because it's not even just pay up just because they are the expensive guys. Like I think that Verlander and Walker Buehler are in like incredible spots too.
Yeah, for sure. Just so likely that one of those top three guys do something special, and on FanDuel a lot, like almost every time you're gonna have the nut pitcher, just raw points, because the bats, there's gonna be so many value bats and mispriced guys.
Give me 1 second. Anybody else we need to talk about from a pitching perspective? Darvish is the piece that's really confusing me the most. I'm so surprised I'm not getting there, but there's just only so many places I can pay up, and it's prioritizing Verlander and Buehler so much more. I'm going to regret that one, I think.
Why?
It just grades out really well. I love the spot. I think the Giants stink. 3.6 run implied total. Like I think he's just going completely overlooked because of the construction of the slate.
Could be. Yeah, he could be.
Like, what do you think Darvish gets owned if Mike Montgomery's not on the slate?
Well, yeah, it goes up as there are fewer and fewer cheap options. Or if you take away one of Buehler, and like I think if you take away Verlander, he's probably as owned as Buehler. If you take away Buehler, he's probably doesn't move all that much because then everybody just goes to Verlander.
Yeah,
because it's just a perceived like Verlander's in the nut spot because Detroit's been so bad versus lefties this season. But Alex said it's not even that great of a strikeout matchup for Verlander against Detroit. Obviously, Verlander is a great strikeout pitcher, but just the matchup, it's not like what we saw earlier where Detroit was striking out like 27% of the time versus righties or anything.
I'll be honest, I was a little surprised to hear him say that. Verlander has a strikeout prop of 9.5 today. The over is the side that's getting the juice. So I've had him at 9.9 when we did the show this morning. I have him at 9.4 now. So I'm in that ballpark as well. So it feels like a pretty good strikeout matchup, all things considered. I mean, you'd have to predict based on that line that it's like a 9.6, 9.7 strikeout spot.
Yeah.
Buehler is a full K behind that in the K prop. So look, I mean, we shouldn't even be talking about Verlander against the Tigers. Like everybody knows it. He's a massive favorite for a reason. It's a great spot for a reason, but he needs every bit of it to pay that salary off.
Yeah. And Adam said something on the deeper dive that I thought needed to be talked about. He said that he's getting between 80 and 90 or 80 and 100% of Verlander. That's what he thinks when it's all said and done, the kind of exposure he's going to end up with. Yeah. And I think I agree with that tonight. Like most nights I would not ever want to have almost all in on any expensive pitcher, no matter how good the matchup is, but you can just filter in and out all these cheap guys with him and still not be locked into the same lineup construction. We got 2 4K pitchers that make sense tonight. We've got 3-4 guys under 6K that are in play.
Yeah,
as well. So it's not like you have to play the $6,500 chalk pitcher with him and there's 3 value stacks that everyone's playing. There's still a ton of options once you get to Verlander and one of these cheap guys.
I'm really happy with my I really like the idea of being over on Buehler and just like a hair under on Verlander. I just like the way that it looks right now. So I'm sure it's going to change as I start making changes.
Yeah. I'm going to start crunching here. I think this Yankees lineup could matter. Toronto lineup will not matter at all for me. But the Yankees could, with Judge at 3,800, at least on DK. So I started my FanDuel crunch. Let's see where that's at. I'm crunching 1,000 lineups these days.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. More lineups is better. I don't know why I didn't try to do more.
I do like 800.
Seems right. I think like some days I was only doing like 300. I think that's too little.
Depends
like
on the slate size too.
Yeah, that too. I'm getting to a ton of Buehler. He's my highest owned guy in my crunch right now. So kind of with you there.
Smart man. Smart man. I'll probably run another crunch right after we do dong picks. I'm going to feel more comfortable doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't want to rerun it, but I'm hoping we get one more lineup before I'm hoping Yankees lineup comes in before we do dong pick or before I crunch. So I don't give a shit about the Blue Jays.
In the next 5 minutes or so.
The Blue Jays don't even have to put a lineup out as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you can just disregard the Jays tonight, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll be like the Mariners the other night.
Please don't let that happen.
The McKay thing is still making me mad.
Oh, me too. Well, it's not the people that talk about it are making me mad. Right. The people that are talking about it make me mad.
Yeah. Just all over the place, everyone.
I don't really have any other pitching takes. It strikes me as a relatively cut and dry thing. You're either on certain people or you're not. And there are so many guys that I just find wholly uninteresting.
Yeah. They're like, okay, if we run through them, you've got Fires at 96. You've got Wainwright at 9K, Smith 94, Porcello 74, Sandoval minor. Those guys both overpriced in the Texas game. It's just there's like 6-7 pitchers I think that a lot of people are going to play all of tonight, and I think that's the right move.
We just got a question in Premium Slack. How insane would it be if you did a full fade on Justin Verlander? To me, ridiculously insane.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's just unnecessary. Like if you're playing 5 lineups and you put in your stacks first and you're playing a bunch of Buehler, sure, if you like to play that style, but
right,
you don't need to just avoid him. I don't think that's not really a thing people do all that much in MME. Like, does anybody do that you know of in MME?
Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, like if this were a 3 max on FanDuel and you had 2 Buehlers and a Darvish, like that's not a fade of Verlander to me. You don't have him, like you are in theory fading him, but like that's different to me.
Yeah, it's 3 lineups compared to 20 or 150 or whatever.
If I were playing 5 or more, there's no way I'm not getting to at least a Justin Verlander lineup.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy can have like a really staggering day today that people can't keep up with. If he has like a 75th percentile game, you're going to need him.
Yeah, he's going to score 33 on DK, and that's a very good chance he leads the slate.
And that's not like that's probably like a 60th percentile outcome. Yeah,
that's not even that. Like he wouldn't be doing that great of a job here. That'd be like this has got the 3 dong 15K game written all over it.
Yeah, if he's not over 20, it's a big problem for you.
Yeah.
You got to be real correct on those bat picks.
Well, no, just Buehler or Darvish or someone's going to outscore him if he doesn't get to 20. There's going to be a bunch of guys that get to 20.
Yeah. Oh.
Any Yankees lineup? No.
No.
Not going to get
Oh, by the way, golf ownership is posted. So if anybody's listening and they were interested in golf, our ownership is now posted. And I really wish that I could check it out.
You playing this week?
Hell yeah. Every week, man. It's just like a part of my life now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How's it been going?
Not bad. Nothing good, nothing bad. Like, it's been relatively neutral. Learning experience, just working on my roster construction.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. A new sport, it's always tough because it's like you just think you're going to win automatically, and it's almost never the case. Like, you need to be a break-even player for a while to like consider yourself good at it. And then I think, especially in a high variance sport like golf like that.
And this is going to be such a shit show this week, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I don't even know how the tournament works, so I guess
everybody basically has a starting score before it started. It's like they already played a round, basically. And you're picking it up from today. Well, tomorrow.
That's funny.
Yeah. But like people are priced as if that's already happened too.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's why everybody's freaking out about Justin Rose's price or something.
Yes. Right? Yeah. So like, imagine there's not even really another good example because you can like ride, those points can go away immediately. If Justin Thomas bogeys the first hole, he's going to lose probably 10 points immediately. And it doesn't really matter because he can gain them right back. But he can only go down in placement points.
Oh, fun sport.
Yeah, I'm pumped. All right, 628. We're close enough to dong picks that it's time to make dong picks. And it needs to be talked about. So yesterday, we had 2 double dongs. Both Chris's, while hosting Live Before Lock together, both picked double dongs. Spags got a double dong from Freddie Freeman, and Chris Randone got a double dong from Anthony Rizzo. For the second straight day, he has picked double dongs. I mean, we barely had double dongs last year. We've now had 4, 7, 8. We've had 10 instances of double dongs across the 5 of us, and EMAC has the triple dong. But we've never been close to back-to-back doubles.
So I was going to pick Freeman yesterday. I had him typed out, and then Chris picked him on the show. So that one wasn't great. And it also wasn't great because I just wanted the Atlanta stack to go off. And they didn't. Like, he just said the double dong, and that was about it. So,
by the way, I also got one with the GOAT Max Muncy.
You got one last night?
Yeah, Muncy.
Okay. All right.
Needed that one. It was a nice wake-up call.
Yeah, what do we got for the updated standings here?
Okay, 28 for EMAC, 27 for you, Jake, 23 for me, 21 for Spags, 7 for Randone. You are ahead of EMAC, though, in correct pick rate. Everything else is the same order. I'm ahead of the 2 Chris's.
All right. Wow, all of a sudden, Chris is on your tail.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Well, I mean, it would have been bad if you wouldn't have got the Muncie one last night.
I know. I'm going to get another one today, though. So I'm ready to go. I have my pick ready. So make your pick.
No, you go. I'm still trying to figure out what mine's going to be.
You sure? You don't mind that I'm going before you? I don't think that you're taking my guy either way.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. I've got Jorge Soler.
Jorge Soler. Yeah, there's not a chance I was going to ever pick Jorge Soler. So he's all yours. Let's see.
I couldn't be happier with this play today.
Soler against my boy Aaron Brooks.
Yeah, he is 4th in my model today, which I'm certainly not upset about. Has a massive expected ISO against Aaron Brooks's pitch types, which is not something that I like dig into, but I love seeing that it agrees with like the rest of my model. So great park factors. I love it. Soler, put one in the cheap seats. Maybe a double dong, maybe a triple dong. I don't know. What do you got? Oh, I still have the Live Before Lock ticker on with Spags and Randone, so that's not correct.
Close enough.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take.
I already know who you're taking.
Who do you think I'm taking? Mookie?
I was gonna say JD. Are you just gonna take Mookie to spite me and tell me I'm wrong?
I thought. I don't know. Mookie's my highest exposed guy right now, so I'll take Mookie Betts.
Okay, I like it.
Who does EMAC have?
Marcus Semien going to Randone. Who does EMAC have? I don't know. Who's the fattest guy on the slate?
Let's see. Any Matt Adams? Is he on the slate?
Wait, you just took Mookie, right?
Yeah. I'll take Mookie.
All right, and Randon is taking Marcus Semien.
I mean, Muncie's for sure going to dong off Godley. So.
All right, I got it. Pete Alonso for EMAC.
Great pick. Oh, Spags just took Pete Alonso. EMAC got it in before him. Look at that. Like right after each other.
Oh, that's perfect. EMAC beats Spags to Alonso by a half second.
Wow. Look at that. Yeah, too slow is right. The old man's got nimble fingers. You know, he's quick to
I love it. What a snipe by Eric.
Wow.
That's such an Eric move.
No class by EMAC. I don't know.
I don't know what I want to happen. Because I don't want EMAC to get home runs, but then I don't want Chris to get a home run because of the change. So a bit of a conundrum.
I think the moral here of the story is that we're all rooting against each other. And
yes, we are. There's no one I'm cheering for other than myself and Randone.
Yeah, if Alonso could just have a few doubles tonight, that'd be great. Then Mookie can triple dong.
Blue Jays lineup is out, which is useless as shit, but also I think it's going to make per Adam. I think it's going to make Walker Buehler look even more interesting for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm going to have to crunch without the Yanks now, so those are going to have to be some manual swaps. Hope they're not dicks about it.
There's going to be no Judge, Sanchez, Stanton will be back. Yeah.
Derek Jeter.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm getting it started.
Hunter Dozier in for Spags, by the way.
Hunter Dozier. Oh, wow. Some KC boys.
Yeah, I don't like the troll pick.
Why? That's your bread and butter right there.
Yeah, that's my bread and butter.
Of course. Spags is going to copy you. You're ahead of him.
Don't steal my gimmick.
Oh, man. All right.
I want to see what just changed for Bueller here. So if I refresh Bueller, yeah, he went up by a half point.
Oh, so really?
I'm going to get more Bueller now on this crunch than I did before.
Do you know
not by like anything substantial, but the Blue Jays lineup was helpful in this scenario. No Smoke, no Vlad.
No Vlad?
No Vlad.
Why no Smoke, too?
I don't know. They don't want that smoke.
Wait. Oh, okay. Nice one. They're in an NL park. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So they have to, they have to sit someone.
I'm going to start crunching. I see no reason to wait for the Yankees at this point.
No, I think you'll be waiting a bit too long. Their lineups come out late the last couple nights. I know last night especially was out after lock. So someone's snoozing there.
My wife just started heating up the meatballs, which I am stoked about.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm starving, dude. I've barely eaten today. I want food so bad.
Too busy grinding.
We had a bit of an algae bloom in the pool, so I've been trying to get that ready for the weekend. Chris said he's going to be uncharacteristically mean to EMAC on Live Before Lock this weekend.
It's funny that he put in uncharacteristically mean.
Well, yeah, I mean,
like is he saying he's mean sometimes, or
no? He's never mean to EMAC, but he's going to be this week.
Okay, I was gonna say he's never mean to EMAC.
No, we're all mean to each other, but we're not mean to EMAC.
Right. That's off limits. Okay, there was something I was gonna add. Oh, it was in the part in the diversification primer, I don't know if you looked at it lately or maybe you just remember, inter lineup correlation. Also, Mets is expected to start at 7:15 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Inter lineup correlation. Is there a way you like track that? I'm like lost as far as like how to do that within my 150, so they're not like the events aren't too closely too close together outside of just like making uniques?
No, I don't have any mechanism for something like that.
Because there's got to be a way to do it in Excel. I know obviously Alex has some way to do it in Excel. But
I mean, what are you picturing it as? Because maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying.
So it is a section in the diversification primer, but I guess I don't really know. I just didn't know if you accounted for that somehow, like in your 150, because he doesn't account for leverage, but he does account for ownership. But I think inter lineup correlation, making sure that there's not too much, is a way to also get leverage without accounting for leverage straight up.
I assume he just means stacking in like a more generic term.
No, he's talking about lineup to lineup. So not within the lineup, like within your portfolio.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. No, I don't have any mechanism for that.
Okay. That's something, that's a project I want to have.
I assume it's a uniques thing.
I assume, but
yeah, so it's uniques, exposure settings, and randomness. Those are the mechanisms to reduce inner lineup correlation. Those are like the 3 bullets below it. That's the way that I'm taking it, at least.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like very simple, but we've got people asking about Montgomery or Hauser in chat. So we must be getting too far off track for them.
Yeah. It's time to talk about hitting, though. And
let's do it.
I'm still running my new crunches and everything, but I know one thing. I am going to have an absolute ton of the New York Mets tonight, and I'm curious where you stand on Mets.
No, I like the Mets.
They're unowned today, basically.
They're a great stack here. Like, nothing bad I can say about the Mets. We just got ownership. All right, nice.
Did we really? Nice.
20 minutes ago, but
okay.
I haven't put it in.
I didn't either.
So
perfect.
I just don't think Plutko's very good. You've got a solid implied total here. You've got a mixture of cheap guys as well as like mid-tier and expensive guys, Conforto and Alonso. So I think priced appropriately. And where were they at on the last ownership update? Because I know they were pretty low.
3% aggregate or something stupid.
Wow. Yeah, that's nice because they project much better than that for us. So
yeah,
I
had like 15 when I ran mine before.
15% stacks.
Yeah.
Or I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I'm gonna knock that back a little bit because I don't think that they need to be so aggressive, and I could disperse otherwise. But I'm gonna have like probably 12 if we're around 3. I'd like to be like 3 or 4 times the field. That's gonna be the spot that I am heaviest on.
Yeah, not oftentimes you see a cheap value stack go a little bit underowned, especially on a slate with Verlander and Bueller.
Right.
Where's the ownership going in this range then?
I don't know.
You know? At least on DK.
The Royals?
Oh, the Royals and Baltimore.
Which I will not have at all.
That total just went up a little bit from what I just looked at. I've
got my my cup that gets caught in the green screen and just looks like it's completely hollow. It's fun.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It looks fine to me, but I can just see green behind you.
Oh, so. Yeah, there's no filter for our call.
For everyone else, it's probably pretty cool.
So yeah, the Mets are at 2.8% in the aggregate. They have the biggest gap between their ownership and where I have them ranked. So let's talk about some of the chalky stacks today. We have what amounts to, let's say, 5 of them. Dodgers, Royals, Angels, Astros, Red Sox. Who do you like the least in that group?
Oh, the least? All right, let's see.
I think we're going to be on the same page that it's the Royals, but I don't know.
It is not the Royals for me.
Angels?
It is. No, it's actually, well, the team I have the least of right now is Houston.
Okay. They're tough to get to.
They are tough to get to. And I guess it matters that I'm getting a ton of Boston. So Boston's where I'm making my stand as far as the chalk stacks go. I think they're right now the chalkiest, but according to the top
not
stack,
on DK. Astros and Dodgers.
Astros are, okay, but that's Mayfield. Right?
Sure.
Mostly Mayfield. I think he's like 30% or something outrageous. So you can just go underweight on Mayfield and
call it a day.
Still have a ton of, yeah. But Yeah, I love Boston. KC right now, probably my second or third highest exposed stack. Just looking at my exposures here.
Okay.
Really love Whit Merrifield here with the big total for KC leading off against Brooks. I'm going to play both sides of this, and there should be value on one side or the other with no one above 3,600 batting 5th through 9th here for KC. Brooks is not good.
No, he is not.
It's very favorable hitting conditions as well.
My problem is just I think they're massively over-owned. Like, I would have some interest in the Royals if they weren't getting owned like they're the chalk team, and I just can't. I can't get there. Now, obviously, I love Soler, and I think he's in a great spot, and he's my dong pick, but I am going to be, without question, underweight on that 16% number that he's got.
It's crazy. I mean, wait. You're going to be underweight on your dong pick guy? Why would you pick him then?
Because I'm trying to pick a dong, not build out lineups to win the contest.
I know, but why wouldn't you pick something that goes with your lineups, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I can't help it. Like, I'm not going to not pick him because he doesn't show up, even though I think that he's got a fantastic chance to homer.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not playing the Royals because I think they're being owned because they're cheap, and I think they're over-owned. So that doesn't necessarily mean that I think Soler is a bad play. I just, to win the tournament, I have to do something different than pick a dong.
That is true. That is very true. All right.
Anybody else standing out? Like, are you getting any teams with just a crazy amount?
You mentioned the LA teams, Dodgers, Angels, and then I am getting to your Mets, a team that hasn't been going under-owned lately, but it just seems like a really high implied total here, and I don't quite understand why with the other pitcher on the mound, but the Braves versus Caleb Smith.
Yeah.
Where is this? I mean, good hitting conditions here, no doubt, but just not a lot of respect here for Smith. I guess it is blowing a little bit out to left. 5.7 Alex has them at. So I like them as kind of a little bit of an anti-optimizer play. They're more affordable near the bottom, but a team that not a ton of people are getting to right now.
Have we seen any change in the postponement risk for the Cardinals?
Let's see. When was our last rankings projections? Oh, we just got ownership 4 minutes ago.
Nice.
I think it's still right at 10. And you guys can look at this because these are free today.
Yes, they are.
MLB projections from Osmo himself.
That's a good reminder.
Let's see. It's loading. I think it's still at 10.
Okay. Is that going to be affecting you today?
Yeah, that's annoying because I'm still going to get to, like, I don't think I'm going to get to the bats much in that game.
Right.
Anyways, but it's going to knock down Hauser, I think, probably a little bit more than I would like. So we'll see if that comes down in the next projections update, but still playing a bunch of Hauser, and I'm sure you are doing the same. Are you just playing it? You're just playing it straight up?
Yeah, I'm not discounting anything.
All right.
So I'll have probably 50% Hauser if I had to guess when I go ahead and refresh.
You need that rain to come in like top of the sixth.
I mean, I'd prefer it just not come in at all unless Hauser really, if Hauser's got a no going through 6, then I want the rain to just stop that game and take the complete game, shutout, no hitter bonus, and call it a day.
I mean, if he's at 15 DK and you get a shortened game, I think you're winning.
15?
15, yeah.
If he's at 15 DK, I consider it a failure.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
What do you have him projected for?
15.4.
I mean,
I'm rostering him because I want him to get more than that. If he scores 15,
yeah,
I'm not mad that he scores 15, but I don't think that I solve the day because of it.
No, but I mean, short of one of these guys going for 25, you're probably sitting in an okay spot if you have a 50% ownership of
right
a guy who scores 15 for 5,200.
Yeah, like I said, like I am not mad about that in the slightest.
You said it was a fail.
Well, kind of. I mean, it is a fail. That's below 50% likelihood to me.
Fair enough.
FanDuel, about halfway done the FanDuel crunch.
I think my FanDuel crunch is done. Let's see here.
Should get done in plenty of time. I could cut both of these off now. I'm on the less appealing stack portions of these.
What do you mean?
Oh yeah, you said we just got ownership too.
We did. Yeah, we just got ownership a few minutes ago.
Let's drop that in there. See if there's any changes to interesting teams. Verlander at 43% on DraftKings right now, followed closely by Jack Mayfield at 29. Nick
That's
Solak
crazy.
at 35 on on FanDuel. So anybody could be at the top with the right price.
I'm getting so much Bueller on FanDuel.
Way to be on my team, man. It's a smart team to be on.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to be on my team the way I'm playing lately, but so I'll be on yours, I suppose. I'll just tail your picks.
You should. You should. It's going to be great when you have 45% Bueller just like I do and you bank the mini max and I finished 9th for $45 or whatever it would be.
You know me, when I compete for whatever reason, I feel like I run really good when I'm like competing in tournaments for like every sport. I don't know.
I don't.
But I feel like I run incredibly, or just not incredibly well, like, but pretty well when I have competitive nights. Like I don't often stay up and think I've got a bunch of good lineups going and then end up winning $100. Like I can usually tell when it's good early and it doesn't often go south for whatever reason.
I can't relate. Anytime I sweat anything, the moment I turn a baseball game on, whatever I need is going wrong. Like today, immediately turned on the Twins game and it was just like single, error, single, run scored, Odorizzi's dead. And it was like,
really?
Cool. Yeah. As soon as I turn it on, it makes me not watch.
Well, yeah, baseball sucks to watch, like to sweat.
Yeah. Just tuning in and like to watch an at bat and all of a sudden the dude K's on 3 pitches and you're like, cool. He'll be back up again in an hour.
Like, I guess man, it is difficult to sweat because one at bat is so event based. One home run.
Is
like
everything.
I was fading like 2 Cody Bellinger at bats, the time, like one of my bigger nights this season. And, I wasn't watching, but I was like following on my phone, and that's like frightening. When a guy was like 4 points behind me. Got one of the best hitters in MLB.
Yeah, not fun. Any news on that Yankees lineup? I haven't looked.
I don't see it. At
this point now, I don't care what it'll be handled after lock one way or the other. There's no recrunch on an 11 gamer at 650. Not while I'm live.
Look like Boston should just be faded. Boston risk increase? Who's seen that? Oh, they're talking about colors. Okay. Yeah. No, well, I'm not paying attention to that. Are you worried about Boston?
No, it hasn't even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Which is great because that'll be the one that actually does get boned out and we'll look like assholes.
Yeah, that's happened, I think, with me and Randone a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, whatever game got that was awful.
It was like Cleveland Cleveland game, I think.
DK crunch is done.
I also I have my FanDuel lineups done. Guess how much Bueller I have?
37%.
Oh man, you got a ways to go.
Which direction?
Up.
Oh my god, 55.
Up. Higher.
Dude, I don't know then. 100?
No. 68%. My second highest exposed player is actually Justin Verlander, 27%. So there you go.
Thanks for getting on my level today.
It is. Well, I'm above your level on Bueller. I just hijacked your guy.
We'll see. I haven't refreshed yet.
Yeah, man. This is I'm basically all in on 2 pitchers on FanDuel, which is fine.
I mean, they're the right 2 pitchers to be all in on.
Yeah. And I'm fine. I just play less on FanDuel. So I don't ever get in my head. I just get what I get and just let it go. And that's what I should do on DK. But, like they say in cards, you play the cards, or you play the cards, not the money that you have on them. And I could learn from that piece of advice.
All right. I am about to refresh my DraftKings Crunch whenever my spreadsheet stops spinning.
Someone from the Osmo account, you need another share or 2. They want me to get to a nicer number.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. By the way, everybody should be hitting that like button right about now. If you don't mind.
Only 234. I thought we were going to get to 300. That's what T. McBee was saying earlier.
Hit the like button. We're offering free projections today. This is a free show. Is that not worth a thumbs up? Like a virtual thumbs up, not like a literal one. Please don't thumbs up the monitor or something. I mean, do that too. That's fun. But
instead of disliking us, if you think we suck, just fade our stuff and then like it.
Yeah,
great. You're using our advice to win some money.
Exactly. All right, refresh on DraftKings Crunch. It's happening right now. I'll hit you with pitching exposures right out of the gate. Whenever it stops. I'm not like holding out. I just don't have them yet. Okay, here we go. 38% Verlander, 39% Bueller, 13% Tehran, 23% Musgrove, 53% Adrian Hauser, 15% Mike Montgomery.
15% Montgomery, right? Is that what you said? Okay.
I have 18% Mets right now, which I'm going to just have to give quite the haircut. But...
yeah, that's wow. If you think of it, it's 1/5 your lineups. Like if that works out for you, like that could be.
To me, that's just an excessive amount.
It probably is on a stack or a team that's 4% aggregate ownership.
Yeah,
but like 12%, I think that's about the right amount.
Right. Like I am certainly going to be north of 10%. That is not a place that I'm going to change. But like to get to 18 is just more aggressive than I tend to like to be on a team that's unowned. Yeah. It's just not. You got to be really right then.
So we got over 300. That didn't take long. Also, let's see. I'm getting to more Bueller than what I expected on DK.
You're still smashing the Red Sox, right?
I would assume so. Let's see. I'm setting up my 2 different types of teams here. Let's see here. I got to just looking at it, I'm getting to I see Christian Vasquez listed on my top 6 lineups. I'm assuming that's just getting to a ton of Red Sox stacks. And let's see where we're at here.
I'm feeling good about this slate. So those are usually the days I get bludgeoned.
I feel great about basically every slate before we get into it. And then the games start.
That's how it happens, man. That's how it happens.
This does feel like it feels like a slate with an edge. So always feel better getting on here and talking through everything. Let's see here.
All right, I'm gonna say that my DraftKings lineups are done. Yeah.
Oh boy, too much Aaron Brooks here. Wow.
I feel like I should have some Nats. I don't have any.
No Nats?
No.
All right. Well,
I'm not super fond of that, but whatever. Let's get these DraftKings lineups in.
I got
tackle FanDuel.
Just a ton of Sox here. Ton of Sox, a ton of Baltimore, KC.
I have a ton of. I have 19% Boston.
I'm such a chalk donkey here, but underweight on the Dodgers right now, and still getting to a lot of ATL. Maybe I boosted my ownership rank or Yeah, let me try and.
Yeah, I'm way under on the Dodgers, but I do have almost all of my Dodgers exposure in one-offs, so I'm less upset about it.
Oh, okay. I think Bueller's projection may have gone up a bit with that lineup on the Osmo.com projections. I think Montgomery's come up just a tad as well. I'm noticing I'm getting more of him without changing a lot of stuff. And all right, nice. I like how these look, actually. I'm liking the spread I'm getting. A lot of Angels.
Everybody loves a good spread.
Oh, yeah, of course. Top lineup is Atlanta 5-man, Boston 2-man, one-off. Angel, I'm guessing you could probably figure out who that is.
Luis Rengifo.
Exactly.
That's your DraftKings lineup?
That's my top DraftKings lineup, but it does have Teheran Brooks combo.
What did you say it was?
5-man Braves, 2-man Red Sox.
So mine is a 5-man Red Sox, 2-man Braves with a one-off Angel. That is Mike. Nope, it's Justin Upton.
Oh, okay. A little bit different.
Who are your two pitchers?
Teheran Brooks.
Mine's Musgrove Hauser.
Okay. So essentially,
my second ranked lineup is Hauser, Derek Rodriguez.
Wow.
Oh man, I probably suck
brutal.
At this.
I mean, it'd be great if it works out. But.
FanDuel exposures: 24% Verlander, 32% Bueller, 13% Darvish, 11% Hauser. I don't love all that much. Tons of I got 21% Mets on FanDuel where they're 4% owned. So I'm probably going to give that one a little bit of a haircut.
Wow, my night's not going to be decided by pitching on DraftKings right now. I still have the 10% risk in for this stupid Brewers game, but let's see if anything's changed. 28 minutes ago was the last update, so probably nothing changing here.
Still no Yanks lineup.
Rinpack wants us to ask for 400 likes. What do you guys think about that? I think we could probably get close to that, huh?
Yeah, keep hitting that, guys. Keep hitting that like button.
So
create fake accounts. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Yeah, multi-accounting. I've got 7 pitchers between 20 and 37% on DK.
I'm probably pretty close to something like that.
We probably have the same pitchers. So Teheran, Brooks, Montgomery, Hauser, Musgrove, Bueller, Verlander.
No Brooks for me. I mean, I have 4% Brooks, but that's just because I have 57% Hauser.
I think I like this. I think I do. Anything else? More Baltimore than I was expecting. Maybe I should take some of the leverage rank I have down here.
Yeah, I'm tweaking some of my stuff right now as well.
I think that might be boosting Baltimore a bit more than I would like. All right, that looks a little better. Now Bueller, Verlander, Baltimore comes down a bit. Mets. All right, I like the group of teams I got going. This is going in DK right now.
Yeah, I think I'm just about done as well.
STL game is fine. Who says that?
Not me.
I mean, Alex didn't.
I mean, I hope it is.
I hope it is too, because I'm playing a bunch of Hauser. But
getting to a lot of Braves, and I don't like it.
Why not, man? Right?
I think they're overowned.
Okay. Are they? I mean, I think they are a little bit actually on the top stack tool, but still, like I think 5-6% ownership, and it's probably on a lot of these value guys near the bottom.
Let me see. Yeah, I guess I should probably take a look and see who I'm actually getting. But let me get these FanDuel lineups in, and then we can sort of talk about it a little bit.
Yeah,
Logan Morrison in my number one lineup.
Yeah, the trendy sleeper. He really didn't work out with the Twinkies. I heard about that one all last year.
Let's see, 27. Good.
All right. Do you have everything in or no?
No, but I'm uploading right now. So,
all right. Alex just posted in chat. The weather in St. Louis looks good now. The precipitation probably has gone down a lot. The precipitation probability has gone down a lot from 7 to 9.
Nice.
All right. So does that mean I need to take out that 10%? Let me take that out and see if that changes. Yeah. All right. I'm going to take that out and refilter this real quick and see what changes. See what kind of number. Oh my God. Up to 50% on Hauser.
I can relate, brother. I can relate. Do you want me to just send you the CSV?
Yeah, they're probably going to think we're multi-accounting. We're actually in the same room, guys.
Yeah.
Just sharing each other's CSVs. Let's see. Nothing changed. Like, he's the only one that jumped, and then like nothing else changed.
God, I've got such a stupidly weird amount of Atlanta. Okay, but I like it. Like, Charlie Culberson's projected for 25% ownership on FanDuel. I have 7. The rest of the guys, like, I'm all relatively normal on, except for being doubled up on Ozzy Albies. And, like, that's the guy that I would want. So, or, you know, one of the guys that I would want. So, I don't actually hate that ownership any longer.
No, there's nothing to hate.
Who's your most owned hitter?
Mike Trout.
Mine's JD. JD, Mookie, Xander.
Oh, I thought you weren't as heavy on the Red Sox.
I have a massive amount. They're my most owned team.
Oh, I must not have remembered your Red Sox take.
18% on FanDuel, 19% on DraftKings.
Good stuff. We're on the same page there. All right, so I put in the...
That's why I kept being like, yo, man, we're doing the same exact shit. And then when you bumped up Hauser to 50% like me, we've got all the same stuff.
So, yeah, so straight up 50%, 75 out of 150 for Hauser. Now it's Trout at 43, Buehler 37, Betts 36, Verlander 32, and then
Yankees
everyone else.
lineup.
Oh, God.
LeMahieu, Judge,
Urshela, Gregorius, Tauchman. I don't know if Tauchman was supposed to be in.
He was. LeMahieu, Judge, Sanchez, Urshela, Gregorius, Gleiber, Tauchman, Ford. So it's Cameron Maybin in for Brett Gardner, which, because DraftKings sucks, you cannot make that swap, even if you have the extra money using...
well, you can in Excel with the find and replace.
Sure, but you can't do it.
Should just be able to do it like FanDuel does.
Yes, exactly. Just tell me that it can't go in. If it can go in, you should take it.
Exactly.
So annoying. I don't have a ton of Brett Gardner anyway. 3% on DraftKings. How much do I have on FanDuel?
Man, I got to like no Yankees, no Astros. Whew.
It doesn't matter. I'll fix it later. We are 7 seconds from lock, so I hope you got your lineups in, everybody. Yeah, most owned hitter. Let's see. My most owned hitters over the field: Joe Panic, JD Martinez, Ahmed Rosario, Mookie Betts, Todd Frazier, Wilson Ramos, bunch of other Red Sox. Biggest fades: Isan Diaz, Jack Mayfield, God damn, Nick Solak, and then 4th, Jorge Soler.
Well, there you go.
I have 2% on DraftKings, man. When he dongs, it's gonna piss me off.
Boy.
Alrighty, we are done though.
This can be a fun one. Go Mets. Go Boston. I guess go Baltimore. Angels. You know.
Yeah.
Give me all the chalk.
Agreed. Best of luck, everybody. Hit the like button. Shout out to our presenting sponsor, Fantasy Draft. If you want to get $1,000 of rake-free entries on your first 7 days with them, go to FantasyDraft.com. Use the promo code AWESOMO. Coming up after this, 9 p.m. Eastern, so 2 hours from now, Ben Rasa, Jason Roslin doing a live before luck PGA show on the Tour Championship. Last one of the season before we take a little bit of a break and then get into the swing season. So tune in for that. Very interesting takes. And now that ownership is out, we can get some thought processes together on how to best play this final contest. Jake, anything else?
Let's see. Keep going and looking over on those fantasy draft NFL contests. We got a couple of weeks left, 2.5 weeks or so until those kick off. You're going to want to be a part of those. So start building your bankroll up on Fantasy Draft. Nothing better than rake free. So take advantage.
Bingo. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll talk to you later.